It's crazy to already be able to watch a movie about an event that happened so recently, but Dumb Money brings us the story of GameStop, Roaring Kitty, and how non Wall Street investors work to take down one of the most significant hedge funds. Based on the insane true story of everyday people who flipped the script on Wall Street and got rich by turning GameStop into the world's hottest company, regular guy Keith Gill starts it all by sinking his life savings into the stock and posting about it. But when his social posts start blowing up, so does his life and the lives of everyone following him. This stars Paul Dano, Shailene Woodley, Seth Rogen, America Ferrera, Pete Davidson, Anthony Ramos, Talia Ryder, Nick Offerman, Vincent D'Onofrio, and Sebastian Stan. Now, there have already been several documentaries about this almost too wild to be true story, so the plot isn't that huge of a mystery. So what's to keep this from being just a dramatized version of all of those? Well, really, it's the performances, and namely, Paul Dano. He stars as Keith Gill, or as he's known online, Roaring Kitty. And the term dumb money is what professional investors call non-institutional investors. Basically, just regular people who dip their toes into stock trading and investing. Now, Dano, he kills it in the lead role. He brings the unassuming personality of an everyman. I mean, sure, he does have some insight because he is a financial analyst, but he's not in the big leagues where he's rolling in the dough. I mean, he's kind of scraping by, living a very middle-class life. And I love that the character doesn't come across as pompous or obnoxious, even when his predictions start to become true. Dano captured the unbridled excitement of just choosing correctly and then having it paid off. But while also then he's freaking out because others who have watched his YouTube channel or even read his Reddit posts, they're now investing too. There's a genuineness to the performance where Dano just disappeared into the role. And I saw this goofy guy with a passion for his niche going after it. Now, the film is interwoven with storylines of other amateur investors, which not only show the vulnerability of their financial statuses, but also how they begin to play in a league they may not be prepared for. Each actor gives an emotional and even heart-pounding performance. America Ferrera is a nurse with just a crap ton of debt. Anthony Ramos, he actually works at GameStop, so we get to see a little insights into that world. And then Talia Ryder is a college student, completely in debt, betting that an investment gamble is going to pay off because Roaring Kitty seems to know what he's talking about. Now, her storyline is one of the nail-biting ones because of decisions that are made. I mean, she's making daring choices to stand for a cause and a point. And that point is where Seth Rogen, Nick Offerman, and Vincent D'Onofrio come into play. They're the ultra-rich, with Rogen owning the hedge fund that's shorting GameStop. And don't worry if you have zero basis for any of the stock market lingo and terms. I mean, the movie does a great job of fleshing that out and explaining in simplified terms without sounding condescending or like the audience is an idiot for not knowing these. But really, back to the three actors and their characters, they are slimy and they eat up the roles. I mean, Offerman is so aloof and arrogant about his wealth. He flaunts it and he just easily becomes a villain within the story. Now, D'Onofrio is a bit more subtle. I mean, he's controlling, but way laid back, meaning that he's got more money than God, so he can take a gamble and not worry about things. But he's also arrogant and controlling too, just in less overt ways than Offerman. And then Rogen, he's just gross. His greed just exudes from every part of him. I mean, he plays the role perfectly, capturing a smug, but eventually worried rich dude. Now, because this all went down during the pandemic, the movie captures the isolation and the lack of connection that so many experienced during that time, as pretty much everything just came to a screeching halt. And the film doesn't get into any politics surrounding this or even COVID. I mean, it's just something that's occurring in time and space while the GameStop thing is going on. So, like with Anthony Ramos' character, he's at a GameStop inside a deserted mall. Because they sell computer equipment, they were one of the businesses that were allowed to stay open. I mean, it's eerie and haunting to see this visual reminder of how almost nobody was out and about. But then also with these visuals, we see how the stupid rich live and the ridiculousness that they enjoyed while so many others were barely making it. Now, I enjoyed the urgent feeling that began to grow as we watched the stock prices go up and up and up, while more and more dumb money investors, they hop on board. The determination as a collective group to hold on with diamond hands and not give in, I think is awesome. It's also nerve-wracking, especially because these events have already played out in real life. So we know the screwy things that went on with Robinhood and their involvement with an investment app, but also how it looks like some collusion and illegal screwing of people took place. And this is where Sebastian Stan comes into the picture, and he plays a D-bag really well. And not just a D-bag, but an idiotic, mind-numbingly stupid and vapid D-bag. The movie's an hour and 45 minutes, and it has enough urgency and momentum within the narrative to keep it trucking along, so there's not really any downtime. There are slower moments of exposition and character growth, but the pace doesn't drag during these. We just get more development, which leads to richer characters and a deeper storyline. And just because this is about money and real people, don't think it's just a drab drama. I mean, there's natural humor as well as sadness that's included to make it a touching but also engaging story. For me, there was a hugely relatable moment when Paul Dano and Pete Davidson are riding in a car with their parents. And it's a quick scene, but it's filled with so much random comedic goodness. I think what's the most frustrating part about this movie, and it's not really the film's fault at all, but it's the reality of the lack of consequences. This accurately tells us what went down, and then before the credits roll, we get some title cards that are nothing short of infuriating because of just the injustice that they depict. It's a disgusting feeling, but it so perfectly encompasses why Roaring Kitty and then all of the dumb money investors work to take down the hedge funds. Overall, Dumb Money is an excellent snapshot of real events played out through captivating performances. Paul Dano is the standout, capturing the courage, doubt, and charisma of someone who accidentally became the voice of a financially depressed in an epic David versus Goliath scenario. The story is told cohesively and coherently, never requiring any financial degree or know-how to engage with it, but adequately conveying ideas and terms so everyone can get on the outrage against corporate greed. There's mild sex, brief nudity, a ton of profanity, no violence. I give Dumb Money 4 out of 5 couches. So, did you participate in the GameStop investing? If so, did you hold or did you cash in at some point? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.